Hi, everybody. This is Tommy Jenkins. And I just want to thank Ann, Amy, and Matt, and everyone associated with the Rahway Zone Committee for selecting me as an honoree for this year's 2020 Rahway Zone. It's a great honor. I appreciate it, guys. I really do. Who would have thought, I didn't know that there was a Rahway Zone, but I'm telling you, Daryl Dixon called me up and told me that you guys were considering me. And I was humbled. I'm like, wow, that's great. And what can I say? It was a joy. It was a blast growing up in that small town, Rahway, and where you knew everyone and you didn't have to drive everywhere. If you didn't want to, you could walk from one end of the town to the other. That was a special time. Grew up on Columbus Place. Went to Rahway Middle School. Went to, actually first, right around the corner was Grover Cleveland Grammar School where I went. And then I went to Rahway Middle, graduated from Rahway High, worked at Merck as a senior. Everyone worked at Merck if you're from Rahway. And worked there as a senior throughout my senior year. And then when I graduated at 18, I went to New York and was part of a group called the New York City Players, which eventually turned into Cameo. And during that year, I worked at Merck. We would go tour on the weekends, drive up and down the East Coast. I'd get in like 4 or 5 in the morning on Sunday. We'd just leave Friday, come back Sunday night or early Monday morning rather. And yeah, I'd get in like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and just take a shower and put my clothes on and head to Merck. And that's how it was. But that's what I loved. I loved it. And that was my early taste of what it would be like or what it would take. If I really wanted to be a professional musician, that's what it would take. It would take that kind of commitment. And I'm so happy that I stuck with it. I'm so happy I had parents who supported me and siblings who supported me throughout this whole endeavor when I was younger. Of course, when it's so easy to give up, when so many people give up, and say, hey, I just can't do it. I got to get a job. Not that I didn't get a job during that time when I was early, because the money didn't start rolling in until much, much later. But it was when it came, it was a blessing. So yeah, I worked a full year there. Fast forward to maybe a couple of years later, 21, 22, 23, and we had recorded an album. New York City Players, I recorded an album, and by that time we were Cameo. And I'm driving down the street, and our first album, and listening to the radio, WBLS, of course, everyone listening to WBLS and Frankie Crocker. And Frankie had a segment on his show called World Premiere. So during this segment, World Premiere, he would feature, whenever you heard World Premiere, that would mean you would hear a song that you never heard before. So I'm driving and I hear World Premiere. I don't see why you won't groove, won't have this dance with me. Rigor mortis will set in, just sit there and you'll see. That was our first single, Cameo. I heard that on the radio. Man, I pulled the car over, just jammed. You'll never forget. I don't care if I'm 95 to 100 years old, I'll never forget that day. Never forget it. And I don't think any artist or musician, singer, or anybody who hears their song on the radio for the first time will ever forget it. That is a defining moment in your career. That is a moment. Now, a lot of people do hear their songs on the radio for the first time, and maybe that, unfortunately, is the only time they hear their songs. We were blessed, Cameo was blessed, to continue on with 17 more albums. And I, thankfully, was a part of every album. Either I sang on every album, lead vocals or background vocals. I wrote a lot of lyrics on those albums. And I'm happy to say that I was a great part of the success of Cameo, selling several million albums over our career. Not too many people do that for the length of time that we did. So I'm grateful to the fans, for the people who continue to support us. It's excuse me. It's an unbelievable honor to be able to have people to this day and to make music to this day that is still impactful in people's lives. That is something that you can never, ever underestimate or never take for granted at all. And I don't. Growing up in a house with my parents and my sisters, and we listened to my father and mother loved jazz, and my first introduction to vocalists were Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole, Duke Ellington, the big band sound, Sarah Vaughan, Nancy Wilson, Miles Davis. That's the music that permeated from the record player in my house. And then I got introduced to, of course, the Motown sound, which was some of the songs that I sang with my group on the corners, the Temptations and Four Tops. And that was great. So that was my musical introduction. And if it hadn't been for having the space and the area to grow up in a time when you can express yourself musically, I don't think it would have, I'm not sure how far I would have gotten. And Rahway, being from a small town, was that also. You never know how the effect of where you grow up and how you grow up, how it would eventually affect your life as you go on. But I know that, I still rep Rahway to this day, and I know how much of an influence growing up there meant to me. So once again, I want to thank everyone associated with this award. I am deeply humbled and appreciative of it. And hey, onward and upward, Thank you again. Love to everyone. Peace, y'all. And be safe out there, all right?